Children to bullying are today calling on MPs to introduce new laws so schools are forced to act if it's reported.
In 2018, Bradley John took his own life at school. He was 14. His father, Byron, is supporting the proposed changes.
And we can speak to him live now from central London. Byron, just talk us through what these proposed laws are and how they would work.
Well, the Safer Schools campaign have met today, and we have a meeting in Westminster later this afternoon, and we're calling on the government ministers to basically put a policy in place, a national framework, a standard by which schools have to act. As it is at the moment, it's very open-ended, and it's left to schools to devise their own policies, and there is no legal requirement that they have to record bullying or act in it in any way. And we're calling for changes to that. There are no statistics available for bullying because it's just not recorded. Now, in every other walk of life, in employment, sport, whatever you do as an adult, there are laws in place to protect you from bullying. There's nothing in school, and we are looking for changes, that this protection is put in place, that the safeguarding is there, and that when encountered with bullying, teachers and head teachers have to act in a set way. It can't be open-ended, that it's accountable, it's reportable, and that something is actually done about it. So many children are distressed, their mental health suffers, all as a result of there not being a proper safeguarding policy in place.
Tell us about your son, Bradley.
Bradley was 3 months off his 15th birthday. He was quite an adventurous child. He loved the outdoor life. He suffered with ADHD. He was a keen horse rider. He loved his quad bike. He competed to quite a high standard in show jumping. And horses and animals were his world. He suffered a lot in school for being a little bit different. His ADHD made him a target because some people knew they could get a rise out of him. They could get a reaction. And with Bradley, he'd get upset if he was bullied, and then obviously the bullies had felt they'd won. And we attended countless meetings with the school he was in, and we were fobbed off, and we were told that action was being taken. And after his death, obviously, we demanded all the reports and the records, and very little of the bullying was recorded and very little done about it. And I think if something had been done about it, if Bradley had felt safe, this wouldn't have happened.
On the day he took his own life at school, had he given you any indication that he was particularly unhappy?
He'd got up early that morning. He was planning ahead. He was looking ahead to a horse show he was going to that weekend. And he'd met members of his family who were down on a holiday the night before. He was talking about us meeting them on the Friday and going for a meal. And he'd actually put a petrol can in the back of my Jeep, and he asked me to get petrol for his quad that day. In fact, his last words to me were, "Don't forget the petrol for my quad tonight." And I would say that taking his life at that point wasn't on his mind. And unfortunately, the statistics for suicides in young people with ADHD is very, very high. And I believe that's because they react to the situation in front of them. And the ability isn't there to look at the bigger picture and look beyond that. And Bradley certainly struggled to process the bigger picture. At home, we had it under control. He knew he was safe. He could look ahead, but in school it was a very, very different story. And we believe an incident occurred that morning, and he left the classroom and went to the school toilets where he took his life. He was seen just before entering the toilet, leaning against the wall and digging his nails into the wall, saying, "I've got to get out of this place."
Well, the school haven't said that he was bullied factually, something they dispute. But Byron John, thanks very much for joining us and telling us all about Bradley. Thank you.
Thank you.